In this video, we're going to be talking about how to find the area of geometric shapes. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to cover the following formulas off the formula chart. And I'm going to zoom in for a second for you. These are printed for you. All the formulas are there. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to show you how to use all of these formulas to find the area of a shape. Most of them, it's the same exact math. We're going to start first with a rectangle. And I'm just getting these formulas straight off the formula chart. Area equals length times width. Alright, so we're going to take a rectangle. Now I want to make sure you understand. Now I'm not the best artist in the world, but that's fine. I can still calculate the area. One of the things that confuses people is the difference between area and perimeter. Very quickly, let me cover that. Area is total space of the object. Perimeter is walking around the shape. Let's imagine here for just a second that I have, this is my yard, and I'm going to build a house in the middle of it. Well, there's a couple of things that I want to do when I build my house. First, I'm going to need a fence to go all the way around it. Which one of these two deals with putting a fence around my yard? That's perimeter. It's going to go all the way around. So I will need to add up all the sides to figure out how much fence I have to put up. Area, on the other hand, is something completely different. So we're not going to really talk about perimeter in this video. We've talked about it in one of the others. We're going to talk about area. If I'm going to put my house in here and I want to put grass in my yard, I need to know all of this area so that I can have grass put in my yard. And so area is a different calculation from perimeter. So let's take that rectangle and let's calculate area. Let's say that I have a rectangle that has its 30 yards in width and it's 75 yards in length. For all of these formulas, all you're going to do is see, as soon as you read a question and see the magic word area, you're going to look up area on the chart and find the formula and plug the numbers in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my calculator to help me. If area equals length times width, it's going to be 30 times 75. And I'm going to have yards times yards, which is yards squared. So whenever I have yards here and yards here, yards times yards is yards squared. Now be careful here. Only the unit is squared. The numbers are not. Okay, as a matter of fact, on the test, this isn't going to matter as much as getting the answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator, 30 times 75. My answer is 2,250. This is the answer I would look for on the test, and that would be the one that I would bubble. All rectangles work exactly that same way. Use your calculator to help you. Plug the numbers in the formula and see what you get. Length is the longest side, width is the shortest side. In this formula, it doesn't matter which one you put where. And you just plug the numbers into the formula and you get your answer. So getting the area of a rectangle, not too difficult. You'll get to practice some of these in a minute. We're going to do a couple more geometric shapes first. Let's talk a second about a triangle. The formula is not the same for a triangle. Area equals 1/2 the base times the height. Make sure we understand the terminology. Area is going to equal 1/2 the base times the height. Well, if you had a triangle, its height is how tall it is, and the base is what it sits on. Okay, so let's say that I had a triangle that had a base of 12 and a height of 7. Now sometimes they can possibly try to trick you, and sometimes what they'll do is they'll tell you that this is a 6, and you use the formula. Well, you have to be smarter than the question because it says 1/2 the base. Well, the base is just, if they put that number there to there, that's not the whole base. That whole triangle sits on all of this. Well, this line coming down halves this side, so that's also a 6. So 6 and 6 gives you a total of 12. So they can sometimes give you the total length, and they'll mark it off as the total length is 12. Or if they give you part of it, you know that doubling it gives you the full length. So in this case, we're going to use 12. It's going to be 1/2 the base, which is 12, times the height. which is 7. And so all I have to do is take my calculator, and I'm going to say 12 times 7 divided by 2, and that's 42, and that's the answer I would look for. Now, that may have been confusing how I put it in my calculator, but what I can do is I can do 1 divided by 2, that's 1/2, times 12 times 7. I'll still get the same answer, 42. Either way you put it in your calculator, you'll get the same answer. In this case, just using the formula for a triangle to come up with the area of the triangle. Again, putting numbers into the formula. 1/2 the base times the height. The only thing you got to be careful of is notice where they put the numbers. If it's half the base, then you have to double it before you put it in there. If they give you all of the base, let's say that's all 12, that's why I plugged in a 12. Either way, you get the same answer. Just make sure you know what they give you in the question. That's how you do the area of a triangle. Again, you're just taking the formula and plugging in numbers. Let's try the area of a trapezoid. Area of a trapezoid is equal to A equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now that looks very similar to the triangle. Here's what a trapezoid looks like. You'll notice it's not like a triangle. It doesn't have the point on the top. It has 2 flat sides. And so let's say we had this 5, 7, and the height is 4. All right, well, all I have to do is follow the formula. A equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2, 7 plus 5, times h, which is the height again, which is 4. Area equals 1/2 12, 7 and 5 is 12, and times 4. So again, I can use my calculator to help me. 1 divided by 2 equals times 12 times 4, 24. That's the answer I would look for. So that one's not too difficult. Now, what I can also do is if I don't know that this is a trapezoid, see here how there's a triangle here, and there's a triangle here. Well, if I had 2 triangles, really a trapezoid is a square that has a triangle on both ends. I could actually put my formulas together and actually get the same answer of 24. Now you may think, okay, how are you doing that? Well, it's a little more work, but if I don't know if it's a trapezoid, if this is 5 and this grand total is 7, that means this is a 5 and this is a 2 and this is a 2. I'm sorry, that means each of those is a 1. Five, 6, 7 gives me my grand total. And so what I can do is if I see this is a triangle, which is 1/2 the base times the height, 1/2 the base, 1/2 1 times the height is 4. That's going to give me a total of 2 because 1 times 4 is 4 divided by 2 is 2, and there's 2 triangles just like that. So that's a grand total of 4. And then if I want to do this square, the area of a square is side squared, or actually it's just length times width, just like a rectangle. 5 times 4 is 20. 24 is my grand total. So I can get the same answer if I realize that this is a square with 2 triangles. Now the easiest thing to do is to use the trapezoid formula. This is just these 2 formulas put together. But if you don't know it's a trapezoid and they give you the numbers for a triangle, then use the triangle formula. 1/2 the base times the height. And since there's 2 triangles, since this came out to 2, multiplied by 2 triangles gave me a 4. And then length times width was 5 times 4 for this square. That's 20. I still get the same answer. So you got to be careful with them. This is a much easier formula to use. But if they don't give you all the information you need, or if you miss it, you'll still get it by putting these 2 formulas together and adding them together. So that's a trapezoid. Now if you got lost on that, you may want to watch that section again. I'm going to do one more formula. I'm going to do a circle just to make sure that we can do an area for all of them. Circle looks completely different. And in a circle, the area is going to be pi r squared. Pi r squared. And so r stands for the radius. Radius is from the middle to the outside of the circle. So let's say that we had a radius of 4. Well, what we're going to do is area is going to equal pi times the radius, which is 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. So my answer is 16 pi. Now, if you look at the answers and you don't see 16 pi, then what you can do is you can actually take that value and go a little bit further. Now, if you know that pi equals 3.14, now you may not know that, but on your calculator, when you get your calculator, look around on your calculator, I see that right above that button right there is pi, and since it's above the button, I have to push the button to go above it, okay? Pi times 16 equals, I can get 50.27 approximately if they wanted to have a number answer. Both of these are right. How did I do that again? Well, some of you know that pi is 3.14 times 16. I'm going to get an answer like 50.27, 50.24. Just find the closest answer. So either one of these answers works. Sometimes you'll see the answers with pi, and they just use the symbol. So it was 16 times pi, or sometimes they want a decimal number. So then go ahead and take pi. If you don't know this, you may want to write it down. Pi is equal to about 3.14. Pi is equal to about 3.14, and you can multiply it times that 16 and get a decimal number, and then you can find a possible answer. And so that's not a too difficult way of getting it, but it actually would be really helpful either way if you knew how to do it. So we've learned how to do the area of a rectangle, a triangle, a trapezoid, and a circle. In the next video, I'm going to give you an example of each of them and see if you can calculate them. All right, good luck on it. If you have any questions, you may want to watch this video again. But I know you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.